Hey, do you know, 2 or 3 months ago, I wrote a blog called Resentment Can Kill You or Make You Stronger. And it turns out a lot of other people could really relate to this topic. And, in over the years, I have become much better at catching myself when I start to grow a resentment and talking to the other person about it. But recently, in the time of COVID, I've found myself growing some resentments again in a way that doesn't feel good, but I didn't catch it in the beginning. And one particular one that grew over the last few months was about my kitchen duties, because I'm captain on doing the dishes in our house. My wife and I take captain on different things, and I'm captain for dishes and for kind of cleaning up the kitchen and stuff. But I started feeling really overwhelmed by it all, and I started to feel like my kids were taking advantage of my captain duties, and that the dishes would just be in the sink in a mess. And so I would go back and forth. I would start feeling really irritated about it, and I would be thinking, this isn't fair that I'm doing all this. And then I would think, well, no, you're captain on it. You should be able to handle this. What's the problem? And, Leslie is doing a whole bunch of other stuff, etc. And so I would talk myself out of it, and then it would continue, and I would talk myself out of it, and it would continue. And I just didn't even catch it. It just was like flying under the radar of my full awareness for, I would say, at least 2 months, if not 3. And my resentment started to come out sideways, which is what happens for us, right? It started to come out sideways, and I started to get really pissed off about these other little things that didn't even make sense, but my mind believed they made sense at the time. And then eventually, my wife and I had a big, hard conversation. And I'll tell you, in the beginning of the conversation, I wanted to run from it. I wanted to get away from it because it didn't feel like it was possible that we could get to a different place with the conversation and with my feelings. And that's often my reaction initially. It's just how, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I do, but it feels so impossible with some of these conversations, doesn't it? But we persisted and we talked about it, and I felt so much better. And my captainship on the dishes felt more manageable, and we kind of changed a little bit about how we're doing it, and that felt better. And it's just a reminder to me, because I've noticed since then, it's been a couple of weeks since we had that conversation, and I've noticed that I noticed little resentments creep up, and I'm catching them sooner. And I don't know if it's the time of COVID and that we all have a different kind of pressures on us right now, or if it's just life, just being human, who knows? But it is really helpful to realize to catch the story that I'm telling myself in my head, and to even lead with that in the conversation, to say, I need to tell you the story that I'm telling in my head right now is this, and I just need to talk about it. And then you can have a conversation, and they can say, wow, that's not the story I have going on in my head. And then you can get somewhere to a different place with it. So anyway, for all of you who could relate to that blog, or are running around noticing these little resentments building the way I've been noticing, first of all, welcome to the club. Second of all, play with this idea of when you catch it, saying, I just need to talk to you about the story that's going on in my head, and then go from there. Because it really is like a helpful way to start that conversation, where it doesn't start out as immediate blame, but it opens for more of a conversation about it, so you can get to a different place with it instead of having it come out sideways in other directions. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a good week, and I'll talk to you sometime soon. Bye.